everybody, Bootspur here from World of Enders with Natalie.
Hello.
AKA Wooden Potatoes.
Actually, I just look like a guy right now, so hold on. Should
That's
I
true.
put
Take
on my,
off your helmet.
take
Put
off
on your
my
pink
helmet?
stuff.
Put on my pink stuff. Well, I'll just take the helmet off for now because
You
I like the
are
pink
my-
stuff.
Your face is so freaking scary.
What do you mean it's scary?
It's a really scary face.
I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, no, that's really quite rude what you're saying to me right
What
now.
are you talking about? No, you look so angry.
Yeah, because I get comments like that all the time. It's a self-fulfilling circle of hate.
Okay, so what are we doing here again today, this time?
So, you have invited me on to critique one of your most favourite builds in all the game that you have built for yourself on your
Boots, Bad Builds, Episode 2, Warrior, one of my main character actually, Wellham Tenderfoot. Little Wellham, here I'll show you his cute little face. Cute
All right.
as a button.
Can I just ask the viewers a question if we stand
Yeah.
side by side?
Sure.
Who do you think looks more intimidating out of the two of us?
Hold on, let me put on my evil imp devil helmet.
The tiny little midget dude over there.
You
Okay.
mean the devil?
The tiny little imp dude, or the giant big ass Norn guy? I think we both know the answer.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
did
the
look
big
at your
guy.
face. You are pretty damn scary. Okay, so the difference is your face is scary, but the rest of you is not really.
Well, that's because I'm in a full nomad set right now, bro.
Yeah, and then me, my outside's scary, but when I take off my mask, I'm just the nicest guy.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So I'm telling you this build that I came up with that I'm using. I've actually been using this. This is a useful build, and that was your main criticism of my Guardian build, my intelligent, brilliant Guardian build.
Had a lot of synergy, but ultimately was useless. Yes.
Thanks for that. Yeah. But this build is as good as it gets. I'm gonna just switch this on here. We'll put that down. Okay.
Why
so,
don't I believe you?
I don't know why you don't believe me. I don't
Alright.
my voice. It's so believable.
It is pretty believable. You do have that Canadian believability thing going on.
Exactly.
However, I think I'll have to see the build before I agree with you.
All right, let's get right down to it then.
Brass tacks. Let's do it.
We started with the runes for the last build. I think we'll do the same thing for this one.
Okay. Oh
the
god, here we
runes
go.
for this build are superior runes of the Mad King.
Oh, I know this build. Okay.
You know parts of it. You've seen parts of it.
Ah,
So superior runes of the Mad King.
okay. All
It's a
right.
power-based build, except it also has condition duration on it.
Okay.
5% condition duration, 15% bleeding duration, then another 20% bleeding duration for a total of 35% bleeding duration, and summons ravens to attack nearby enemies when you activate an elite skill.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that good? You might ask.
Because. Oh well. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Why is that good?
It's because it synergizes. Remember that word?
Synergizes.
Synergy?
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Synergizes with one of my traits, Forceful Greatsword,
Okay.
which says gain might on a critical hit with a greatsword or spear.
Okay.
And
So when you have
I'm-
your greatsword out.
and I use my elite skill.
Perhaps we should be somewhere so you can demonstrate this.
Okay, so let's find a few of these marsh drakes. Okay, there's a marsh drake here. There's two relatively close to each other here.
Okay, I'm coming.
So what happens when I use my elite skill?
I'm watching your boons.
You ready?
Yeah.
Elite skill. Look at that skyrocket! 25 stacks of might.
25 might, and I believe you also put some considerable bleed on the marsh drake. Correct?
That's right. Quite a few bleeds because of another minor trait, which is 33% chance of bleeding your foes on a critical hit.
Yes.
And that includes the ravens.
Right.
So using my elite skill, I get massive crap.
So you get 25 strikes basically with your elite skill. Of
No,
the
it's 14 strikes for each raven,
okay.
and the ravens you could have up to 3 targets with the ravens.
Okay, so in total you could be that's over 40 hits, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a lot. Okay, so what do you do with all this might, right? That's what you're asking me now,
Well,
right?
Then you want to, because it's very, very short duration.
It's a very short duration, so you want to do as much damage as possible. However, you also note that might does what? It gives you a lot of power.
And condition damage.
So this build is specifically to use both the condition damage and the power together.
Because the runes also give you condi duration too.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what it is. Okay, so here we go. We have...
Let's look at traits.
I got longbow and greatsword. That's my two things.
Okay.
Traits. I got 0. Actually, you know what? There's two versions of this build.
Okay.
The two versions are 6, 5, 0, 3 or 0, 5, 0, 6, 3.
Okay, well the first version of that's actually reasonable spread. Like that could almost be a meta spread there.
Okay. And the second version is also meta for a different reason.
Is it now?
Yeah. Because the second version does phalanx strength.
Okay, and then that pushes that 25 might out to your allies for about a second or two.
For 7 seconds.
Okay, alright, okay, continue.
8 seconds, actually.
Continue.
Okay, alright.
Wait, tell me when I can start.
In a while. Okay, so let's start going with the phalanx strength first, okay?
Okay, alright.
So the phalanx strength build, in your 5 in arms, you got bleeds you apply last longer.
Okay.
And that's interchangeable with rending strikes, which is 33% chance on crit to do vulnerability to your targets.
Okay, which would then also put a lot of vuln
strongly.
On.
Yeah.
I think I prefer that one.
Okay. Then forceful greatsword, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Also, bleeding foes take 10% more damage with that minor skill. Burst skills have a critical chance, a higher critical chance, etc.
See, I do like the attack of opportunity on there because, well, in theory, if your playstyle is you pop the elite, which itself is Signet of Rage, which is giving you the Fury of the Might and all that kind of stuff anyway, and then that's pumping you to 25 might, but also stacking a ton of vuln so that you can spike in that very, very short period of time, I would like it a lot. But you're not telling me you're running Axe or anything. I know that the new F1 on Greatsword is a lot more spiky though, so maybe it still works. But I like the idea of being able to pop that and then going for like a big eviscerate or something.
Yeah, that's interesting too. But it does, if you had Axe, it wouldn't use your condition damage anymore.
Yeah, but you get... Okay, go on.
Okay. All right, so for the phalanx strength build, there's 6 in tactics, so you have... the minor skills in here aren't very good at all. But you have empowered.
Okay.
Or actually, no, you sometimes empowered, but sometimes stronger bowstrings, depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Then burning arrows, 10% extra damage while your foes are burning.
Okay.
With your longbow.
Okay.
And reduced longbow recharges. And phalanx strength, obviously. So you're pumping out all the might you do to your allies. So if you're in a party, you're doing... What?
What are we doing in a party?
Which is what I do. This character currently has 70... what's it called? Agony resistance.
You're running it in fractals?
I'm running it in fractals.
What? But Boots, you're replacing all the hard-earned long duration might everybody stacks in their party together with your horrible, like, barely
I'm only
worth
replacing
a few
it
seconds.
if they're actually stacking the might. The build replaces might stackers altogether.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the theme of a phalanx warrior anyway, I give you that. But don't you agree that you would help them hit that 25 and maintain it if that was the purpose of the build, by running something like, I don't know, strength runes, instead of the small kind of, like, gimmicky-ish Mad King runes? Like, if that's the purpose of the build, like, there are other, the standard phalanx warrior achieves it so much better.
I thought I was... continuing with
my god, okay, go on. This is hard. This is killing me. Go.
Okay, so then phalanx strength. And then finally, I have warrior sprint, but Signet Mastery is pretty good too for this.
Okay, I like warrior sprint, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially on this big old lawn.
And so the alternate version of this build is no more phalanx strength.
Okay.
And
Right.
30 in strength instead.
Okay, I'm liking it.
Okay. And short temper
Okay.
for your adept.
Okay.
Which is no cooldown, gain 3 stacks of might when you're blocked.
Okay.
Which means...
If they block during the elite?
Yeah, I still get all that might.
That's cool. See, one thing I really do like, honestly, do very much like about it, is it's like... Warriors, I mean, aside from War Banner, which really comes much more into play in PvP than anywhere else, in my opinion, like, so many warriors are used to that Signet of Rage is not really feeling like an elite, you know? Like, it's a short cooldown thing that just gives you a bunch of buffs that other people have probably given you anyway, right? Like, it doesn't feel elite.
Yeah,
but this build turns it into this big...
an elite.
Yeah, and I do like that, and I do like the amount of synergy that you get with that. That is cool.
Okay, so here's where I'm stuck, because if I want to use this in World versus World, I use it in World versus World sometimes, and when I use it in World versus World, I use physical training and distracting strikes as my last 2 traits. When I'm not doing that, though, you just go slashing power and something else strong. Berserkism power. Now, the gear I run is a mix between Berserker and Sinister.
Again, see, okay, because you're trying to get the condition damage in there.
Exactly, and it works. I'm telling you, it works. Because here, let's go. I'm gonna go back to Lion's Edge so you can actually see the stats.
Okay.
And because it's a ranged and close build, so it's pretty ready for anything that comes to it.
I like it. It sounds quite versatile. You know, it's a hybrid DPS.
Exactly.
Why,
so
when
something's strong against pure damage by being like really tanky, really high toughness or something, it makes up for it by doing a good amount of conditions. And if somebody is removing conditions left and right, it still does a ton of direct damage.
See, so what I'm curious about right now is, it sounds like because you're trying to go for an all-rounder, shouldn't Celestial be like the bomb for you there, because you would have more overall stats by going pure Celestial? How does that compare?
What would you have said if I had gone Celestial?
I would have said it makes sense as a Celestial build.
Except, what would you... in PvP, for example, I run this build with Celestial, because there is no Sinister and Berserker mix.
Yes, right.
But in PvE, I run Sinister and Berserker because you get way more offensive stats that way.
Is that how that compares? Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Way more, because you're not getting all that extra
defensive stuff. Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. So you're still going full glass.
Yeah.
But you're trying to split it between power and Condi to kind of get this gimmick out of Signet of Rage. The one thing I don't like that you're not doing is you're not using that 25 might window very well, in my opinion. Like, you are with the Condis ticking there for a little while. That's the thing, like, so, like, the cool thing about it is you get this, like, big 25 might kind of, like, spiky kind of cool moment with the elite. And that is just not necessarily, it's useless in dungeons, because you're going to be around that level. Even in bad pugs, honestly, just you running phalanx, you're maintaining much higher levels for much longer, and just, it's worth so much more. So, like, I really feel like in dungeons, it's just worse. It's just, like, the cool gimmick, the synergy bit of it. Like, it doesn't do anything. Like, it's not accomplishing anything.
It does, though. Like,
not better than other things would. And not by a long way, I would say, either. Mm-hmm. I'd also say all these little bleeds and things that you're putting up, especially if you're in, like, an unorganized pug thing where maybe you've got some random guy who's trying to run Condi, they're going to get a little bit annoyed with you with all these stray little things coming that are still weaker than what they apply. You know, especially if you're overwriting those.
Who runs Condi?
Who runs what you're running?
Well, what I'm saying is the Condi that I put out is not being overruled or overruling anything.
Well, it is if it stacks stupidly high.
Well, it wouldn't stack stupidly high.
And if someone else is already pushing... My point is that if this is some unorganized thing where everyone's running kind of weirdish builds anyway, then yeah, your chances for random Condis to be flying all over the place, and especially clapping bleeds out, it's not hard at all. Then yeah, it's not ideal. That's my point. My point is the build sounds like it's at its strongest, maybe in sort of a world versus worldy scenario.
Yeah, that's pretty good there too.
Yeah, well, or some kind of solo scenario, and I wouldn't say it's definitely not the best for soloing dungeons at all or anything like that, because again, it tends to be that the quicker you can do the DPS, the less damage you're taking yourself anyway, and that's important in a lot of situations. But for the world versus world stuff, it's kind of a cool gimmicky little way to be able to kill people where you don't have to worry about other people's might blurring the lines. I really don't see the phalanx variant as being that incredible. I mean, obviously anything can work while you're running around in PvE,
Yeah, and it's especially good. I mean, if you're doing, let's say, a World versus World Havoc group, getting
where people are a bit more spread and it's not stack.
No,
and
but
smack.
I'm saying, if you could get yourself a spur of the moment 25 stacks of might for 7 or 8 seconds for your party of 5, without having to like wait, stop, stack your might. Everybody sees what
Wait
you're
for
doing.
everyone else's cooldowns. We're talking about a single cooldown, pushing that out, which
Exactly.
is a good point. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I think it's strongest. And I remember you talking to me once before about running a variant where you were very keen on sword main hand as well as greatsword, again because of the weird Condi power split, but also that gave you insane mobility too. Do you remember that? And I think that was a little niche that may have offered a lot for the build too, because you can just keep chasing people down, chasing them down, chasing them down.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I switched from sword warhorn to bow because I don't know, I really like the fire.
Yeah, the burning. Yeah, and I remember when you used to run that. I remember saying to you about the bow as well. Like that's even more easy might for you. Again, the bow is a great example of a weapon that benefits a lot from the hybrid stats.
Exactly.
Because burning is so strong, because the pin down if it lands is very strong for the bleeds, because it gives you might, and because the arcing shot is just such a massive, massive, massive hit. It's even got a little bit of utility on the blind. So it's a nice weapon, but again, like the bow is less mobile. The bow I would never want to see being ran in like a dungeon scenario. I don't see the point in it at all. It doesn't offer anything.
Well, I'm only on the bow for like 5 seconds at a time.
Yeah, that doesn't matter though. You could be on a different weapon set for 5 seconds at a time that's doing a lot of damage, like axe.
Yeah,
Like axe
except
mace.
axe is really a lot of damage when you're right next to the thing, but if you have to stay away from it for some reason.
Well, again, what game type are we talking about now? Because in dungeons,
Could
you
be
get everything
PvE.
next to it.
No, not all the time. You have to make sure you don't die sometimes.
No, dude, come on. If we're talking about organized like dungeons and fractals and stuff, you're stacking against things.
Wait,
And you're
on top
fine.
of things
You're
all
not-
the time?
You're not ranging. The amount of times you range is very minimal compared to the amount of times that you're not. And in those situations, yeah, you can swap the bow on. You know, you do a dungeon tour, there's going to be times where you range, but then that's when you put your range weapon on and you go back to your primary set. It's maybe 10 to 15% of the entire tour you're maybe on that. If that. That's, you know, so I wouldn't call that a core part of the build. I wouldn't say that that's something that should be ran in the build all the times.
All right.
So I like it. I really do. This is the problem, and it pains me. I really do like the idea. Like, I feel like the devs are like, oh, there's all these cool things people can do, and they don't realize that just half the time it's not necessary. It's being outshone by much more simple, boring concepts. Like, it's cool, and I think where it shines most probably is World versus World, but then I don't know the 1v1 capability of it where it's so glassy, you know? Which,
Well,
again, makes me
it's
think
still
of the
a warrior.
Celestial thing. That's true, yeah. Sorry, did I totally just cut across? Did you have anything else to explain?
No.
Do you want to outro it? Or do you want to fade to darkness while I'm just rambling?
Okay. Yeah, I might do that. No, thanks for potatoes.
Wow. Well, look, I'm always glad to offer some positive insights.
Sorry, I just realized something, and I have to point this out.
Okay.
I'm taking advice from you about my warrior when you have a freaking 5 signet warrior build going on.
Yeah, no, I just put all the signets on. It's a 5 signet nomad warrior. I don't know what you want from me. Look at this mace shield. Look at this. It's beautiful. I actually love the Viridian shield. Look at that shield. It's like the best shield in the game. And besides, this set's going on my Revenant. My
Also,
King
by the
Jarlis
way-
Revenant tank when that comes out. It's
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
amazing.
sure. But look at this bow that I have. I made, like, cause I was making Sinister gear, and I made a Verada's Sinister bow.
All right.
And I had no idea that it had this color scheme and looks identical to my armor. And I
Yeah,
was
that's
just like,
true.
Wow, that's kismet.
That did work pretty well, yeah. I had to dye my armor green instead of pink so that the Viridian shield would work.
Oh, that's terrible.
Painful. Yeah, that was horrible.
All right, thanks everybody for watching Wooden Potatoes. Tear me a new one.